teacher Ira, and together with teacher AJ, we will be discussing the conjunctional phrase and interjectional phrase. So let me introduce to you the conjunctional phrase. But wait, let us define first the conjunction. So a conjunction is a word that is used to connect words, phrases, and clauses. So what are some examples of conjunctions? Since there are three types of conjunctions, which are the coordinating, subordinating, and correlative, so under these types we have some of the examples of conjunctions: for, and, or, but, as, since, though, whereas, not only but, no sooner, as much as, and whether or. Now, let's take a look on the definition of phrase. So, a phrase is a group of words that work together to make meaning, but it is not a complete sentence. Examples are reading a book and once in a blue moon. Now, if we will combine these two, what will be a conjunctional phrase? So a conjunctional phrase conducts the function of the conjunction. It combines multiple clauses or sentences. Take a look at this example. I took my dad's car for a ride. The conjunction used is for. The clause I took my dad's car and the phrase a ride becomes a complete sentence because of the help of the conjunctional phrase for, in which it conducts the function of combining these two to become one. Hence, I took my dad's car for a ride is a conjunctional phrase. Another example is, study hard otherwise you will fail an exam, and the conjunction used is otherwise. This conjunctional phrase is the same with the first example. Otherwise combines study hard and you will fail in the exam. Hence, study hard otherwise you will fail in the exam is a conjunctional phrase. And the third example of a conjunctional phrase is, he is an honest man. On the contrary, his son has become a thief. And the conjunction used is on the contrary. It combines these two clauses to form one sentence. Check for a conjunctional phrase. Another example is, the man is not only a famous writer, but also a good human being. Two conjunctional phrases are used, not only and but also. Remember the function of the conjunction? It combines multiple clauses or sentences. Same is true for the last example. We had a very short time in hand and was confused whether to visit the place or not. And the conjunctions or the conjunctional phrases used are and, whether or. Well, easy, right? Again, a conjunctional phrase conducts the function of the conjunction. It also combines multiple clauses or sentences. So, if the sentence uses a conjunction or conjunctions, that is a conjunctional phrase. So that's it for the conjunctional phrase, and I'm hoping that you have learned from this discussion. And now, Mr. Lagrimas will be discussing the interjectional phrase. Enjoy learning and see you in the virtual meeting.
Now, let's come to interjection and interjectional phrases. In grammar, what do we mean when we say interjection? Interjection is a word, phrase, or clause that shows a spontaneous emotion or feeling. It also reflects the facial expression, the body language of a person. Most likely, it is an emoji, but in words. So how about interjectional phrase? Interjectional phrase is a phrase that shows burst of emotions. These are common in spoken language, and this is also appropriate in capturing a dialogue in your writing. So here's a short trivia. Did you know that interjection is often confused with the word interject. Both have different meaning and both are used in a different manner. Interjection means to show spontaneous feeling or emotion, while interject means to interrupt someone who is speaking, which comes from its root meaning to throw between, which is derived from Latin. So let's go back to interjections and interjectional phrases. Interjections have fixed meanings. It means that whenever they are used, the listener can automatically understand the feeling or the emotion of the speaker. And these interjections usually comes out at the beginning of a sentence. But an interjection has no grammatical relationship with the sentence. It means that with or without the interjection, a sentence can still stand alone. And these interjections can also be seen at the beginning, middle, and ending of a sentence. So here are some examples of interjections. Hooray! Alas! For heaven's sake! Jeez! My gosh! Yes! Thank God! So those are examples of interjections. So there are different types of interjections. First is the interjection for joy. Second is the interjection for surprise. Third is the interjection for grief and pain. And fourth is the interjection for hesitation and doubt. So how can you identify an interjection or interjectional phrase in a sentence? So you can identify an interjection or interjectional phrase in a sentence because it can be a word or phrase or clause with an exclamation point. It can be seen at the beginning, at the ending, or at the middle, but it usually comes out at the beginning of the sentence. For example, thank God I'm home. Thank God I still have money. Jeez, I'm hungry. So those are examples of interjections or interjectional phrases and how you can identify them. But always remember that an interjection or interjectional phrase always expresses a burst of emotion or feeling. So here are some examples of interjections and interjectional phrases. First example, for heaven's sake, leave me alone. So what is the interjection in the sentence? For heaven's sake. And what does it implies? It implies the interjection of grief and pain. Next example. Thank God I passed the exam. What is the interjection in the sentence? Thank God. So, what does the interjection implies, or what feeling does it give? The second interjection implies the feeling of joy, the interjection for joy. Next example. Goodbye, I have to go. What is the interjection in the sentence? The interjection in the sentence is goodbye, and it implies the interjection for bidding farewell. Next example. Can you go to the store with me? So what is the interjection in this sentence? The interjection in this sentence is which shows the interjection for confusion or doubt. So that's a wrap for our topic for today. Now let's have a short recap. An interjection is a word or clause that shows a burst of emotion. And how about an interjectional phrase? An interjectional phrase shows a spontaneous flow of emotion and feeling, and it is very common in spoken English, and it can mostly seen in dialogues. So that's all for our topic for today. Thank you.